This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome on board your live safari. Jump on with us bless you. Had a little snort there from our resident wildebeest on quarantine. We've stopped off to say good morning. But my name is Lauren, and I do have Davy on camera this morning. It's a really pleasant morning. I'm actually not finding it too cold. The skies are very dramatic, and you can see that pink glow going above the horizon. Sometimes it's worth just paying attention to what's going on in quarantine. The antelopes, wildebeest and impala will let you know if any predators are nearby. Now, many of you are joining us from all around the world, so welcome. We have families from South Africa, Canada, UK, Netherlands, Germany and Dubai. And I say it's pleasant. It's actually 17 degrees Celsius and 62 degrees Fahrenheit, which is quite chilly. For South Africa, at least. Probably not for UK. So I'm all ready and wrapped up to see what the morning will bring. Davy, what is happening over here with these two? They just having a little head scratch together. Yes, I think they were. You can't scratch your head on other members of your own species. So, of course, this is live and interactive. The whole point of what we do is so that you can talk to us. So you can send in your questions. The email address is about to pop up, but it's kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Send in your questions about what we're seeing. Let us know where you're from. You're welcome to send any lovely comments you have as well. Isn't that stunning? It's a youngster, a young wildebeest. And there's one that's just deciding, I am not going to get up. I'm going to just stay here. It's far too early. I want to keep sleeping. This is another youngster. Oh. It's time to get up. Doesn't look too happy about it, though. You can see all the impala running in the background. They are very much awake now. So I'm going to check the western edge of Quarantine, one of my favourite roads, and then I think I'll head west. I feel like I might get lucky in the west today. We've been very lucky with leopard sightings lately. We've actually spent time with leopards that we don't normally get to spend time with. But I am looking for our usual suspects. I miss our usual leopards. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see what the day will bring. Anyway, I'm very much looking forward to hearing from you all. And as I bumble around, of course, I'm not the only one out. And Mr. James Henry is very much looking forward to saying good morning.
Hello everybody, and welcome to what feels like a fairly subdued Tuesday morning here, western fringes of the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. We are driving along misty morning close to the valley of the great Umlawamati riverbed, and it is a feeling of freshness, a slight hint of fire on the air, and I think that comes from somebody's braai last night. My name is James Henry. Owen was on camera, and we're going to head down towards Cheetah, which is the reserve to the southeast of Djuma, where we find ourselves now, and we'll hopefully be able to follow up on a leopard cat that they had there yesterday evening. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to ask Owen to cast the camera upon the ground in front of us, because there was a great and mysterious thing last night. On our way back, when we had absolutely no signal whatsoever, we discovered this very strange drag mark, and it comes from way up there. It came down the road, across this block, and into here. And I don't know if you can see where the soil has been clearly moved by something being dragged. And by the time we got here, it was dark already, and we couldn't follow up on it. I've got no idea what it was, because I cannot see any kind of predator track around it. The best I could do was that a badger was dragging something, because I think I saw a badger track in the darkness, and it must have happened at some stage yesterday during the middle of the day. There's no hyena track here, there's no leopard track here, which means I really don't think that it was one of our major predators. And if you look over here, you can see that's kind of flat, so that was a heavy piece of whatever it was. And here, something sharper. I don't know if it was an impala, maybe? But I don't think a badger would be dragging an impala. And so we'll just drive in here very quickly before heading down towards Cheetah to see our leopard. I don't want to be savaged by anything. Anyway, quite interesting. I don't know what it was, and if you know, normally you'd find a leopard track or a hyena track on something like that, and we didn't see anything like that. So we'll just pop our heads in there and see if there is anything, and then we'll go back down to Cheetah and see if we can see Guchava, the leopardess, and her cub, aged 7 months. Good. Rowan has already managed to find something at andBeyond Ngala, so let's pop off to him while I stick my nose in here.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so we had quite an interesting morning. I left the camp hearing lion roaring, so we're trying to determine like where exactly this was coming from. Sorry, my name's Rowan, behind the camera, I've got my soul. So we're just trying to determine where the roaring was coming from, and managed to find one of the Ross males only now. So wanting to see if he roars. But actually a very interesting morning as well, because right here in front of us we've also got the Birmingham young male, and he's not looking good. His back left leg is damaged, very damaged. I'll be honest, he's not walking on it at all, so we don't really know what happened to it. Might have gotten into a fight with one of these Ross males, might have gotten into a fight with, you're gonna see now the bad limp. So hoping it would warm up and it gets better. See, thing is, he's trying to follow the Ross male. So what I was telling my soul is that maybe he got into a fight with different males from the east, because it looked like he came from the east, and also the pride came from the east. See, the Ross male is marking his territory now in the back. See, maybe he roars, he's looking for his brother, I can imagine. So I want to see if he comes back into the river, or whether he goes up onto the bank. Every now and then you can hear this male softly calling the young male, the Birmingham male. So he's looking back, the Ross male, you just see his face popped out there. Now there's a big bush in between them. Nice and misty morning here in the riverbed in the Timavati. And what a good start. What an absolute fantastic start. So I think a lot of you are probably wondering whether we're going to do anything to help this male. And no, we can't. We're just going to let nature take its course. So we're going to drive a little bit forward. For now, we'll send you to Taylor, who's got some cheetah.
Good morning, everybody, and to everyone that's joined us today from all around the world. We are sitting with 3 male cheetah. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Alex Shapiro, and we are at Karongwe Game Reserve, which is pretty amazing. It's a bit overcast and cloudy today. It's nice, cool temperatures, but I'm so happy that we've found these 3 big cats. We've been trying to show you the 3 male cheetah that live on Karongwe Game Reserve for quite some time now. Now, you may have noticed a fence line. Cheetah seem to enjoy walking up and down the fence lines, and I think these boys are on their way and might be picking up the scent of the female cheetah with the cubs, or the youngsters that we've been seeing for the last couple of days now. But they are pretty inquisitive, and keep looking on the other side of the road, which is another really big game reserve, because there are some sable, which is a type of antelope, that are snorting at them. Look at them, they're so beautiful. We'll get into their story a little bit later, but I'm just so happy that finally, after, I cannot tell you, about a week of trying to find them, that we've managed to do so. Oh, they're tired now. And now, because we're on a fence line, we actually passed a couple of cameras, some sort of camera traps on the fence line. And Rachel, you're asking about, I suppose, people patrolling these reserves for poachers. Yes, there are heavily armed guards that patrol up and down the fence lines at Karongwe Game Reserve. And then not only are they in vehicles, they're on motorbikes, some of them are on foot. So there's lots of people out here that we probably don't even know. They could be just watching and listening to us right now, making sure that all the animals stay safe. But also this road that we can see that divides two game reserves is manned. So you can't just come and drive here. There is actually 2 access points with guards as well, and they won't let you come through for no reason. So we probably won't see anyone on this road other than the people that are working on the reserves on either side, which is nice. So it'll be very, very quiet. But the fence lines are often the quickest ways to move, and these cheetah have got a rather large area that they need to patrol, and they haven't come down all the way to the south for a very, very long time now. So they were overdue, and yesterday afternoon on the sunset safari, maybe you were lucky enough to watch it, I showed you some pictures, but we actually had a view of them when we try to keep up with these boys, but they're so quick when they're marching, and they just weren't in an area where we could show them to you, which was a little bit sad. But I had my suspicions that they would be pretty much here this morning. So this is why we decided to come and check. I said to Alex, let's just check this main road. Let's see if they crossed somewhere. And as we turned down onto the fence line, we had to drive for a very long time to get here. I started seeing footprints in the road. And I thought, are these leopard tracks? The sand was quite soft, so it was quite difficult to see. And then I was like, no, definitely cheetah. And then we just drove a couple of 100 meters, and there they were, scent marking. But they don't look like they're going anywhere just yet, so we'll sit with them for much longer. If you go back to Ngala, which is quite fitting, seeing as though Rowan has got the lions.
Listen to this, you're going to have 2 male lions roaring now. Oh. Actually, so that's a young male. So the young male is now walking towards where the Rosmal's gone down. This was interesting to see because the Rosmal started roaring, and it's like the young male just roared louder than him. But he's doing a lot of that sad moan, so I think now they can see each other. Whew. Let's see what happens. That limp is really not looking good. Although the wound looks very fresh, maybe the last 3 days, 4 days. Like I said, the rest of the pride was to our east. So we don't really know whether this was the Ross males doing or whether it was other territorial males further to the east. As you can see, he's not putting any pressure on that leg at all. Hopefully he bounces back. He's had quite bad wounds before from the Ross males, from damage they inflicted. So we'll see. Arya wants to know why lions roar, or you can see that Ross male is dipping his head now. So Arya, lions will roar to almost demonstrate that they are territorial in this area, and It's just to warn other male lions that they are here. It's their territory and they are the big bosses here. Oh, it's calling again now. Every time I drive, more of a sad moan. So I'll stop again once it starts. I just want to give you quite a cool view with both of it. And Aria, it's often for them, it's a way to find each other. Marcel, does that work? You can have the one in the background and the other one in the foreground. Go left. Forward or back?
Forward.
There we go. What a nice little view. And of course from here, Aria, if they roar in the riverbed, the sound will echo even more down the river. It's quite phenomenal. Oh, that Rasmal's got a bit of a snarl on his face. Oh, it's a piece of grass in front of it. No, it's his teeth. Look at that. Oh, it looks even meaner. I'm hoping they roar again. No, the young male's been moaning quite softly. This is the first time we get a chance to look at the wound that he's cleaning now. Yeah, it's still bleeding. Roofty, age 5, wants to know how old do lions get. Often the males, they'll get to about 9, 10, yes, at a push 11 maybe. The females tend to go quite older. Of course, it depends on circumstances, how much food is available, how big the pride is, you know, but I think, I mean, our Birmingham lionesses, those lionesses are already 14 years old. I can imagine they'll probably end up making it to maybe 16, 17. But yeah, usually 15 would be a good age for lioness and 10 or 11 for males. I'm hoping this young male makes it to that age. You know, every single time we see him, he's injured and we worry about him too much and he ends up bouncing back. Of course, they've got a lot of bacteria in their spit that is good for healing wounds, and that's why he's licking it right now. I just find it interesting that every single time the Rasmal roars, he will join in. So, a soft moan again. So every single time he makes a sound, you can also see the Rasmal look at him. Rachel from Vietnam. I knew this question was coming. She wants to know, why don't we help the injured male lion? Rachel, if we had to help every single injured animal out here, nothing would be natural anymore. You know, so because it's an open system, it has to be an open natural system. We can't go around just helping every single injured animal. Sadly, I mean, as much as we'd like to, it just takes the natural aspect out of it. So, sorry Rachel, but he's gonna have to just, you know, heal his injuries on his own. Can't be human intervention for every single little injury. Alrighty. I think while we wait to see if there's any more vocalization, I'm going to send you back to Taylor's store with the cheetah.
Right, so we're still with the cheetah. Now, I want to formally introduce these boys. So, their name is actually quite interesting. The three of them are named after a province in South Africa. So, one of their names is Kwa, the other one's name is Zulu, and the last one's name is Natal. So KwaZulu-Natal is a province sort of on the southeast coast of South Africa. Well, maybe a little bit further east, the east coast of South Africa, sorry. Now we need to figure out who's who, because I haven't spent very much time with them. What I can say is that they look a little bit fatter than they did yesterday, don't you think, Alex? I wonder if they caught something small on their way down here. They don't look particularly plump, but maybe they caught a steenbok or a duiker or something little that just allowed them to fill their bellies, which is good. So I have taken some notes as to who is who, but they're all around the same age. These three males, they come from one female cheetah, which was born in a game reserve called the Manyoni Game Reserve, which is quite a big wilderness area, in sort of quite close to the coast, in KwaZulu-Natal, so Zululand. And they then were brought here. They were brought not too long ago. I'm just trying to remember what I wrote it down. They were released in, I don't even know when they came here. I'll have to find out when they arrived. But I don't. Oh, there we go. 2000 and? No, that's the female. No, I can't remember when they were released. I shall have to ask one of the researchers. I've only got the date of the female cheetah. But they've been here for a couple of years. They're almost 6 years old. So they're somewhere between 5.5 and 6 years old. Well, they really are in their prime at the moment. They're not going to get much bigger than what they are already. But once they sit down again and we can have a proper look at them, we will look at their tails, because I've figured out what color their tails are, different stripes on their tails, and significant spots. One of them, Zulu, who seems to be sorry. It's always very distracting when you get the voices from the narrators coming through. We're going to have to move now. But anyway, Zulu is the most dominant of the males, but I haven't seen them interacting very much, so this is going to be all very new for me as well. So that's what we're going to try and do. But unfortunately, they have disappeared yonder, and if I want to keep an eye on them, I am going to have to move. So I'm going to move, because I do not want to lose them like we lost the leopards the other morning. So I'm breaking the rules, because I want you all to have a great sighting of these cheetah. Try and catch up to them, because they can just disappear into this vegetation so quickly, like they have done now. We're gonna have to try and we're gonna try and keep up with them on the fence line, but they are scent marking. They just scent marked a tree. They jumped up, they scratched on it, they urinated on it. Heinrich, I haven't got a clue what's going to happen when they find the female with the two cuts. It will be interesting, which is why we need to try and get in there to follow them, so that we can try and keep up with them. This is quite a big area. I might even need the help of the researchers, because I don't think this is going to be a one-vehicle job, and I don't know how many roads. Sorry everyone, we seem to be having a few technical difficulties, but like I said, we're about to lose these cheetah, and we need to follow them. I'm going to need to call in a second vehicle. Okay, we're going to keep trying to find them. Off you go back to Ngala to see if Roan is still with the lions.
Guys, so we are still just sitting in exactly the same spot that we were earlier, with the young male and the Ross male in the background. So far, no real roaring, just that from the young male, just soft moan every now and then. So earlier on, where I said we found this, is we were at camp and we could actually hear the roaring. And I think it was that Ross male in the back that was roaring that we could hear. And it sounded like his brother was way further west, also roaring in reply. So we're just sitting here. Maybe it happens one more time. You know, it is still cool enough for a lion to roar, especially in the position where they are now. It's nice and open, and the sound will echo through this riverbed. So we'll just sit here patiently. Yeah, all the birds are waking up now as well. Beautiful morning sounds. So, while we've been sitting here, we've been discussing this wound in quite some detail, and we all think it would be able to bounce back from that. But sad to say, oh, big yawn from the Rossmale. There he comes. There he goes. He's gonna roll. Isn't that just magical? Gee whiz, what a great start. And it's actually quite nice with the Rossmale disappearing into that dip, and it just echoes out. But you can see this young male almost, he does not have the stamina to roar along with the more experienced Rossmale yet. He didn't go on for as long, and it definitely wasn't as loud. Wow, that was magnificent. That was just awesome. Whew. Definitely worth the wait. See how he's listening around now to hear if anyone is replying. Hello, Kate from Canada. You want to know if the size of the lion's mane indicates his status. Kate, I don't think it really indicates his status at all. What we've noticed now is that the Rossmale you just saw, his mane is larger than his brother's mane, except that his brother's mane is darker, and his brother tends to be more aggressive, and his brother is actually the dominant way. So I think color has a lot to do with it, although you can imagine with the mane, it protects the neck and it makes the animal look larger as well. So, you know, you would think that the larger the mane, the more intimidating a lion would look, but I don't think it really indicates its status at all. Okay, what I want to try do now is go back in the riverbed and see if we can find the Rossmale on the other side. There's a road that runs on that side, just runs parallel to the river. See if we can find him again and see what he's up to. Maybe he's walking west to try to find his brother. For now, we're going to leave this young male. Righty, so while we do that, we're going to send you back over to Djuma and James with a couple of elephants.
What a time to join us. Look at that. The morning toilet well underway for that large elephant cow. We've had sights of babies charging down the road and full tusked frontals. And when you joined us, that's what you got. A dumpage of epic proportions. Fantastic. Right, well, we do have some elephants. Quite a few elephants, actually. And they're wandering about both sides of the road here, having some breakfast. This one looks like it's going to have spaghetti for breakfast. Owen, can you smell the aroma coming off what just was deposited? Let's just listen to them for a second. this kind of listening is important if you're learning the bush, because if you're ever walking, you need to be completely alive to the sounds that an animal like this might make. So if you're walking along, you know there are elephants around. It's that scrape of the foot, the sound of elephant skin against grass or bush, the flap of the ears, the footfall, the passing of wind. All of those things you need to be very careful to listen out for when you're on foot out here. I don't know how many of you were with us about, a week ago or so, up on the eastern boundary. We had a wonderful experience with this very elephant cow. She shepherded the rest of the herd away from us, or just came between two youngsters and us, because she was obviously a little bit worried about our intentions. Clearly she's not totally terrified by us, which is great. Breaking of branches. Let me move forward a bit. We'll get another view of the others at the front. We're not too far from where that leopard was last night. There's not much light just yet, so I think stopping for these elephants is a really good idea. Well, they're elephants, aren't they? It's always a good idea to stop for them. We've got some others there. Now what she's eating is a kind of wild pea. Definitely selecting a wild pea of some description. And watch how carefully she selects it. That's a different one there. That's not the same creeper she just picked. That's some Vernonia that she's eating there, I think. There goes some wild pea. Vernonia is that pretty purple flower we've been investigating. That was yet another species that went down the hatch. None of it grass, though, interestingly. So all of it quite aromatic herb, I think. There's the pea again. Small pea. So although they eat a massive amount, they eat a vast number of species of plant, they are selective about it. It's not like they're at the all-you-can-eat buffet and they're just taking randomly from each pot. They're selecting very carefully. They know what they like and what they don't like. The other thing that you need to listen out for, of course, and I've just heard it now, is the gentle plop of their dung hitting the ground. And that genuinely is a audio signal that there are elephants around, and it's quite a distinctive one. That sound tends to travel quite far. Hello, David. You're 3 years old and wondering why elephants have tusks. Elephants have tusks because they need them to scrape bark, to dig holes, and sometimes to fight with each other, and sometimes to defend each other. And defend themselves. Oh, look at his lips moving. See, he's still got his fuzz on the top of his head. And now what he's eating is something called the red thorn, or Vachilia gerardii, and elephants love red thorn. You can see that from the way that tree has been modified over the years. Countless elephants have come past it and sampled its wares. Very popular food stop, obviously, for ellies. Kamaya, you're in India and wondering, interestingly, whether there are horses in this reserve. No, Kamaya, there are no horses in this reserve. There are no horses naturally occurring in Africa. There are, well, I mean, depends what your definition of a horse is, I suppose. There are equids, they are zebras, of course. But there are no wild horses here. There are what we call feral horses in Namibia. So there's a herd of horses that lives wild. Namibia is north and west of where we are now. They were a very interesting story. They were abandoned during the First World War, and that herd has now become a feral herd, a very popular feral herd. But there are no other horses in Africa. The only wild horses I know of that I think still exist are the little Przewalski's horses of Mongolia, I think. There are also feral horses in the United States, the Mustang herds. I think they've got a few places where they have some feral herds of Mustangs. But none here. All right, we're now going to go to a mobile lion. I don't know where that lion is. It could be at Karongwe, it could be at Ngala, it could be at Djuma, it could be anywhere really.
So what happened now is this Rasmal moved away and he came this way towards us. And then the young male was calling just from here, where we left him earlier. And so now the Rasmal is going back towards the young male. So we're just following him up and down, up and down, up and down. He's not made a sound yet. It seems... So at this big marula tree in front of us, to the right, is where we left the young male in the river. So we'll see now what the Rasmal does. Might be a bit of an aggressive walk because the Rasmals are two territorial males here, and this young male shouldn't be here anymore. Yeah, you can see he's cutting off right towards the river. So what we're going to try to do, I'm not going to head around to the river. I'll just sit on the bank and watch what happens. You can see the young male there. I'm going to just get in front of the Ross male. So you can see the young male has already spotted the Ross male. And the Ross male is going to come through the bush just to our right. Sadly, we are going to have to stop here. Let me just try maneuver a little bit better. Sorry, Marcel. Definitely do feel sorry for this young male though. I haven't seen the Ross male coming into the river. I think for now let's keep focused on the young male. He seems to be the one that's more vocal. Still haven't seen the Ross male come around that bush. Oh, now he's roaring. There he comes, to the right. Focus on him. You know, it's quite funny that the young male is lending his voice almost to the Ross male, because of course 2 lions sound a bit more dangerous than 1 if this is a territorial call. It's not like the Ross male is now rushing towards the young male to try hurt him or anything. You know, even though the young male is giving it, I think not his all just yet, but he's definitely calling very loud. So I've never seen this behavior before, but I can imagine from any book I've read would tell us that no, the territorial male lions would not allow it. Actually, I'm just gonna stay here. I've got a nice view of both of them. Marcel says I just have to move my head every now and then. I can do that. Okay. Can't hear any other lions roaring, either from the east or the west. So it's now quite funny. The Ross male is facing west and the young male is facing east. Both listening, well, both looking in different directions. I think the young male just wants to find the Birmingham pride, the rest of his pride. The Ross male is more territorial call. It's always the most interesting thing. You have a good view and you come over to the other side, try to get a different view, and then the animals move again and you think, okay, the first place I was actually the better view. But of course the Ross male moved off and we had him on the road and he was lying down for a while. The young males started going. Okay, so it seems that Lauren wants to give an update, so we're going to send you over to Djuma.
Unfortunately, Lauren doesn't have much of an update. We have completely covered the west. Completely. We saw 2 in Ngala. and they walked into the bushes before we could put them on camera. So we're not doing too well at the moment, but we had fresh leopard tracks and we lose them. I think this leopard is mobile, so my theory is let's also be mobile and try to keep up with them. It's male tracks, but I don't think it's Hukumuri. I think we could be on the tail of Mulwati, which makes it very, very... Before, yes, I've completely lost what I was saying there. Okay, we're now on the western edge. We've had a lot of luck on the western edge recently. So we're going to try it. We're going to try and see if we can find any animals. Oh, hello, an animal. Mr. Impala. Davi, am I positioned in... Oh, there. Oh, hello. Is this your little territory? We have found an animal for you. So I believe the 45 minutes is up already. I'm sorry I didn't find much for you all, but thank you for all your comments and questions. We very much value them. So we're going to open up the rest of the show now to everybody. But kids, please still stay with us. We will still answer your questions on that email address, but we will take questions from everybody. Okay, so I am going to look for something. But it appears that Mr. Henry has a leopard.
We've very luckily managed to catch up with Kuchava here, which is great news. Sun just coming up behind her, and the cubs there as well, which is very special. I've never met the cub.
Myself and WildEarth here. Once you get closer, I'll make...
Hello, little cub. Now, I believe that this is a male cub. My notes all said that it was a female, but I'm told reliably by the final control yesterday that this cub has got the golden orbs that are very telltale of a male. So that's very exciting. The kill is in the same place it was yesterday. She's just going towards it now. She's hidden it very nicely. Now let's hope this little fellow stands up and gives us a good look at his face. Hopefully our signal will survive the morning and we can spend all morning with them, which would be very special. Just spectacular about a leopard. I'm not sure why it is exactly, but really, I don't know anybody who looks at a leopard and thinks, oh, well, I've seen better. Now as Kuchava sets to her meal. I think we'll enjoy the baby for now. Beth, some people say they can tell the difference between leopards by their tracks. Look, if a leopard is missing a toe, then it's very easy to tell the difference. But other than for size, it's quite difficult. And remember that unless an animal... Let's pretend we have two leopards, right? One is slightly bigger than the other. Unless they're walking on the same kind of sand, it's very difficult to tell which one is bigger and which one's smaller. That's not to say that you won't hear a lot of guides saying, oh, I know this guy's track by such and such a shape, etc. But I don't think it's that easy. I'm sure some people can do it, I can't. These little guys are quite nervous at the moment. I don't hyena in the night, but I don't think so. Isn't he lovely? I don't think you're even going to see her in there. Harriet and Elizabeth, I personally have known Thandi for 5 years, plus minus. I met her fairly soon after I arrived here. But a lot of our viewers have known her longer than that, because some of them have been watching for, I think, 9 years or so. Maybe even longer than that. They may have even known her as a cub, because she's 13 now, of course. And she has now had, let's just go through, I'm going to just go to my notes so that I get all the cubs correct. Right, so in late 2010 she had a cub, and that one of them died, and the second was an animal called, or a male called Wabaiza, and he was also killed in 2014, so he's not living. In 2012 she had one female that was killed by a pride of lions, and then a male called Bahuti, who we think is still alive, and he's gone off. Then in 2014 Thandi had Kuchava, who's also lost one from her litter. And then she had a wonderful little fellow called Tamba in 2016. He's now a territorial male at Singita. And I think around Singita now. I think he's still there. He also had a litter mate who was killed. This is all by the Styx Pride. Most of these deaths have been caused by the Styx Pride of lions. And then she had Tlalamba in mid-November 2017. We don't know if Tlalamba had a litter mate or not. Tlalamba is a very special leopard, one of our favourites. And then she had one in early October 2019. Tristan found them. I think we only saw them once, maybe twice. And then they died. They're having a little conversation there, are they? And now she's got the new two that I saw yesterday, or 2 days ago. Let's go back a bit. We might get them in some nice light now. Having a bit of a grooming session, perhaps. Oof, their meal is stinking. They're going down that way. I don't think they'll leave it. They may go and find a nice place to rest for a little while. All right, let's go back up to Ngala now and find out what those lions are doing. We'll drive slowly after these leopards and hopefully catch them up with the sun shining on their faces.
Yeah, so I had a just absolutely amazing morning. Seen cheetah, seen leopard, and you've seen lion. It's, wow. So up here, not too much has changed. See the young mouse now just lying on his back waiting. And the Ras mouse keeps looking to the west, but so far no more vocalization, no more roaring. But we thought for now we'd still stay with him because it's quite cool. You can see the mist is nearly lifting. But quite a cool backdrop. It looks quite eerie. You know, especially a little bit earlier when the roar was coming through the river. It's such an amazing morning. But both have gone very quiet now. I really think this young male is probably going to spend majority of his day around here. Maybe later when it heats up, he'll go for a bit of shade. Not too sure what the Rasmal was doing. He was on his way west a little bit earlier, going in the direction that I think his brother was roaring in. But he came back when this young male started calling again. So he's keeping an eye on him. A bit of a snarl going on there. I think his upper lip is caught on a tooth. This, the wound on the young male's leg is still bleeding. Maybe about 2 days old or so. He does lick it a lot, and of course by licking it he's removing the scabs. Prashant is asking which Rasmal is this? Is this the mean one or the calm one? Prashant, it's, I think, so he's the lighter maned one, so he's not the dominant of the two rather. He's, I'll be honest, I'm less scared of this Rasmal than I am of the other one, so yeah, the calm one I think is what you're looking for, not the mean one. Although I can tell you that both of them could be rather mean if they wanted to. The mean one, yeah, he's definitely got scary eyes, very intimidating eyes, whereas this one, he's actually got quite beautiful eyes, blonde and mane. I think also the other one has a bit of more of a mohawk going on. Looks more like a crazy scientist bully kind of guy. Although, I must say, this one with his lip curling onto his tooth like that doesn't look too friendly either. Let's see the left upper lip almost snarling up. So yeah, this the wound looks quite swollen still, and we're hoping that's why he doesn't. Oh, gives a call. Here we go. That's spectacular, isn't it? It's amazing to see that every single time there was a louder roar, you can actually see the breath being pushed out of the Rasmal. I couldn't have asked to start my morning better. That's just amazing. Marcel, are you smiling? Okay, he's smiling. Marcel's also smiling. He likes the way the sound reverberates through the riverbed. Wow. And the mist makes it even better. Bernard wants to know how old these lines are. Bernard, we're not really too sure about the Rasmals. We've, they weren't born on andBeyond and Ngala, so we've been trying to almost just judge their ages. Because they are territorial and big males and they've taken over territory, we think they are probably around 8, maybe 8.5, closer to 9, between 8 and 9. And then the young male is about He's 3 years and just over 8 months, 3 years and 9 months now. So he should be gone already. You know, his sister just gave birth. I think those cubs were seen once by all of you and by Eric. So yeah, he should have been long gone already. I saw him when he was a cub. Actually a very cute cub, him and his sister. So they had, they were born into, I think 3 or 4 different litters, but 9 cubs in total. I think 3 litters, yeah, 3 litters, and 9 cubs. They didn't make it, so only him and his sister that survived. Of course, there's a high mortality rate for lions. Only about 50% of them make it to the age of 1 already, which is why it's actually quite amazing that with the Birmingham Pride, 8 of those youngsters survived, and both of the white ones survived. Bobby wants to know if this lion would survive if the leg is broken. Bobby, you know, tough to say, especially in this area. I think what he could do is try scavenge meals from leopards, from hyenas. You know, he keeps pushing back into the pride, so he might eat from them as well. But it's going to eventually get to a stage where, you know, most likely the Ross males would kill him rather than injure him. Or if he goes into a different area, then the territorial males there would kill him. So, you know, he could survive. There is a chance, but yeah, it's not ideal. He'll definitely struggle a lot. I don't know if this leg is broken though. You know, it twists a little bit, but I think because it's so swollen and it's so painful that he's trying not to walk on it. And it might just be twisted because of the swelling. So let's hope it's not. It's the first time now we've seen him in 11 days, 10 days. He's been gone for a long time, which is why I think, I'm not too sure if this was damage done by the Ross males or whether it was done by other males further to our east. Niza, do I think he will recover? Niza, I do. You know, we'll try to keep monitoring him as much as we possibly can. But I've seen him like this before. I've not seen the leg twist like that, but I've seen him not being able to walk on a leg for 3 days, and he was just nursing wounds, and he bounced back, and he was perfectly fine. So I think, Niza, to be honest, I think humans associate lion wounds a lot. I mean, if that had to happen to one of us, we would not recover and we would not survive without antibiotics and this and that. But the spit of a lion, him licking it, you know, it's going to heal that wound quite quickly. And yeah, I'm hoping that he would recover. I'll just be very optimistic about it, and I think he might. There's been cases of 3-legged lions surviving, or lionesses. I still just find it astounding that these two can roar together, such close proximity. And the Rasmal isn't taking offense to it. Natalie's saying beautiful ambience right now, very nice. Of course, Natalie is at final control. She's talking into my ear, so she's feeding all the questions to me. And she's liking this picture that she sees. And she said, even though both of them are facing away, and as she said that, the young male turned his head towards us and nursing his wounds now. Got quite a big face. You know, actually, I wish you could see these two stand up next to each other, and shoulder height, this young male lion is larger than the Ross male. It's a beautiful, beautiful lion. I really hope to see him grow up. See, he'll just keep doing that, keep doing it, keep licking until that wound is healed. Which are quite swollen. Okay, so I think what we might do is leave them be and see what else we can find. But for now, I'll send you back to James, who's still with Kuchava.
There she is. She's finally settled down a little bit. And the cub is just in the thicket to our left. But I'm sure he'll come out eventually and come and say hi to her. She's been calling him. I do think that he's quite nervous of cars. I don't know why. But he certainly seems to be slightly skitty. Unlike Sibui's, for example. Teresa, they do not communicate other than to fight with each other. One of the most amazing sightings we ever had was of Tundi and Kuchava having a fight. Tundi does not like Kuchava because Kuchava is now competition. I don't know if there's any kin recognition. I think it's uncertain whether leopards do feel or understand kin recognition once they become territorial. But they are definitely not in communications in a friendly way. They did a funny little walk off towards the north, jumped up into the bush, into a peltiforum tree, and then jumped down and came back here. So we're right close to where the kill is, and the tree in which we found her yesterday. And she will remain very cautious because there is now stinking meat around her. She's calling the cub now. I think if we sit very quietly, the cub will come out. Looks to me like she wants to give him a bath. I think he's in the thicket just in front of us. But I'm not going to ask her to move because I think the movement might make him a little bit more nervous. Let's just wait here. I can see that. Yeah, there's a bit of moving stuff in the thicket in front of us. Such a lovely little piece of clearing. As we the territory of his father for up to 3 years. It depends on the kind of pressure that's exerted on him. The little cub is trying to get out from under a stick. Here he comes. Just don't move your body, Owen. Could you see him coming now? There he comes. Come on, little fellow. We won't do any harm to you. I didn't realize he was so close by. Because he's so well hidden. So he'll move a bit and then decide if there's danger, and then move a bit and then decide if there's danger. And that's how we slowly build trust. There he's out the back of the thicket now. It's amazing when you turn off the engines and you lose all the unnatural sound that surrounds a safari. It never ceases to amaze me how noisy we actually are. And we always try and have as little effect on sightings as possible, but our very presence must inevitably affect the way these animals perceive the world around them and the way that they interact with the world around them. That's not always a negative effect, but it is an effect. There's a little rattling testicular who's now spotted the cub. Come on, little fellow. I don't know, Sonny Kim, how many bird calls I can pick out. I'll tell you, I'm not bad in this area, but I'm not great in other areas. And there are people who are a lot better at it than me. But I'm pretty good over here. But if you take me to the Kalahari, for example, or to the Eastern Cape, I'll struggle. And that's just practice. Just practice. There's nothing mysterious, there's nothing genetically talented about my ability to hear bird calls. It's simply practice. She's still calling. She's calling the cub now. She's making little grunting sounds. Sounds a little bit like Owen when he's dreaming of his poiky course. Come on, little cub. Here he comes. He's coming now. She's calling him. Now they're going to have a meeting almost certainly behind a bush that we can't see. Yeah, he's nervous, boy. Yeah, he's very nervous. Now watch them meet behind a bush where we can't see them. This is going to be deeply irksome to me in my furious attempt to take illegal photographs. Going on. Let's give them 2 minutes and then we'll move. The cub's coming out now. our own coming into that little clearing. There we are. That's it. Little one's still a little bit nervous. Hey, the cub is 7 months old. I'm told I'm obviously that all took place behind a bush. Naturally. I mean, the cub's 7 months old. Just roll back. Let's try and get us a slightly better view. I think that's about the best we're going to get for now. Let's just see if they don't have a quick play. Oh, there we go. Great excitement. All right, while we try and get into a position where we can see them both, let's go back to those male lions and see what's going on with them.
So we were meant to move about 10 minutes ago and then just tried to reposition, and it's actually quite cool lining both lines up exactly like this. It's not something we can often do. So I decided to just stay a little while longer. We'll give it 10 more minutes. See, maybe they roar one more time for us. And then from here, I think what we'll do is end up driving the riverbed actually west. See if there's any sign of the Cheetah leap. I think the last tracks I had was coming south into the riverbed. And then also seeing if there's any sign of this young male's sister somewhere in the riverbed. So yeah, just taking each step as it comes. Both of these males look exhausted now though. I think it takes a lot of energy to make that much noise. Let such a loud roar come out of you. Discussing earlier that we think the young male has a deeper roar than the Ross male, and could be because of his size, maybe. I don't know what he just heard. At least his lip has dropped now. He looks quite normal. He looks prettier again. A very majestic looking animal, isn't it? Okay, so he also just heard something. Both staring at each other. Quite a soft face though, the other Ross male. You could see like his eyes don't look menacing. Damon has asked, when did the two big males take over the pride? So Damon, it should be 2 years April, or the 3 years, April, 2 years ago. It was 10th of April. It was the first time we ever saw them. Well, first time I ever saw them at the property, and I remember that the other male had a huge cut across his nose, like a very, very, very big, broad cut. And so our thought was that it got into a fight with the Birmingham females, and the Birmingham females had other cubs at that stage, which were also hiding in the Timabati River, on the banks of the Timabati River. So it turned out, bless you Marcel, so it turned out that the two Rossmouths had come across the new den sites, and they killed all the youngsters, and then they took over the Birmingham Pride. So 2 years ago, April. Could you hear wildebeest? Sounded like it was canoeing somewhere far in the distance where the Rossmouth was staring at now, in that direction. Kidge or Pidge has asked if the Rossmouths would accept the young male into a coalition. You know, it could happen, but it's unlikely. It mostly, I think it happens more with if there are males, individual males joining up. So now, because the Rossmouths are already set up and they've got the two brothers already, it's quite unlikely that they'll just accept a third unrelated male into the area. You know, it could happen, and that's hopefully, I mean, I've got my fingers crossed because we saw them roaring together, but I think it's rather unlikely. I think he'll have to end up moving out, this young male. What we were hoping for is that he would join his older brother, what is now, I think he's known as the Red Road male on Tinswalu in Manuleti. We were hoping that he could join up with him. But I've seen the two together, and the older brother, no, actually this young male and his sister, they caught wildebeest. And then the older brother came and chased them off, and he took the wildebeest for himself. So yeah, we don't know if this young male is very brave or just a little bit silly, because he keeps coming back, and he did it with the older brother as well. He's trying to steal the wildebeest back from him, and of course the older brother wouldn't let him. The Rossmouth is now starting to clean himself, groom, so he might just get up. Or roll. There he goes. See how he's stretching the head, the neck forward. Just give us one more for the morning, and then I'll leave. Don't know if you could hear the crack of the branch, but there seems to be an elephant somewhere in the direction that both of them are looking now. Quite like watching the lions in the afternoon. Often when they wake up, they'll yawn, and then one of the yawns just slowly turns into a moan or groan, and then from there they roar. Oh, I was asking why did the Rossmouths not kill this young male 2 years ago? Very good question. He has a very big mom and a very big auntie that has taken care of him very well. You know, the opportunity was there, and they could have, and they should have, and they, you know, they probably would have if the mom and the auntie and the two other aunties and his sister wasn't defending him. Yeah, we've seen them mom, or the other lionesses of the Birmingham Pride, we've seen them fight with the Rossmouths loads of time. So yeah, it's tough being a male lion out here. I wouldn't wish this life upon anyone. No roar coming from there. See, the head's just in a normal position again now. So I was just looking around. On average, well, it depends how cool it is, but it's usually every 7 to 10 minutes they do roar. Like I said, I was going to give them 10 more minutes, and now there's 5 left. So we'll see. Otherwise, I'm going to move further west. Also, it's nice to have them still awake and up, moving their heads. That's quite a nice view. Oh, no, we have both of them looking our way. Natalie, I hope you're happy. Okay, so it seems James has a visual of the leopard and the cub. So we're going to send you over to Mr. Henry.
Yeah, up on top of a termite mound. And he seems to be relaxing slightly. Well, quite a lot, actually. He's got lovely kind of orangey eyes, hasn't he? They've completely lost their blue. Fabian, the leopards aren't going anywhere. They're staying right here. They've just, I don't know why they went off towards the east. Maybe just a bit of a patrol to see if there was anyone else around. But now they're back near the carcass. This is the termite mound on which we found them when we got here. And things have calmed down a bit now. He and Mum have had a bit of a play. I think she's gone down towards the carcass. We'll slowly make our way around the termite mound, depending on what he does. Ooh. The expression scalded cat comes to mind. What a name, Second Chance Crafting. You want to know if he's got a 3-3 spot pattern. He's got 3 on the left. That's our left, not his. And 3 on the right. He does, he's a 3-3 male. Well, I'm assuming he's a male. I haven't seen the golden orbs, but I trust the final control from yesterday. I don't know why we had on our records that it was a daughter. So yes, he's 3-3. She's also 3-3 if I'm not mistaken, but I could be mistaken. She's definitely 3 on the right. For those of you who are wondering what on earth we're talking about, it's the whisker spot pattern just above the whiskers. And so if you look at the whiskers just above them, you will see 3 little spots there. And that's unique to each leopard. The arrangement, not the number, but the arrangement is unique to each leopard. Now, if they could just clear the grass away from that mound, it would be the most perfect picture.
Got my leather man for you, James.
Thanks. Muriel, is it true that cats cannot walk backwards? No, I've seen these guys move backwards. I don't know if they've walked backwards, but they certainly can move backwards. I mean, I've never seen them do a moonwalk like I've seen an elephant do a moonwalk, but I think they can move backwards. Well, they can definitely move backwards. I don't know if they can walk backwards. One would assume they could. There's another vehicle coming in here, so let's see if they react by sitting still or moving. In fact, what I think we should do is just reposition slightly while that other vehicle is coming in, so as to make sure we're in the best spot. I want him to get a fright, but I also don't want to be caught short. So hold on. Watch your head here, Owen. What's that beastly antenna? No, you see, he doesn't like the sound of the diesel car. With us move.
Oh, hello. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to James. I'm sorry about that. I'm still here. Not having much luck at all. But I'm not giving up. We've done the perimeter. And the reason I do that is to see if there's any signs of anyone moving in and out. It's always worth checking. And then you have a better understanding if anything's came in or if sadly anything has crossed out. That's what you don't want. But so far, I've got signs for nothing. It's turning into the most glorious morning. I may do the western side again. Once we get there. We'll do a boundary patrol today, I think. What was that? Sorry, Lou, I completely missed that. Okay, so it seems like James is back on, so we are going to send you back across to him and Kuchava.
I don't know what happened there. I think our antenna hit a branch and snapped back or something, but we should be okay. So what the little cub did was he moved off the back of the mound when he heard the sound of the other engine. And that's obviously because he just hasn't spent a lot of time around cars. Also, it could just be his personality. He might just be a nervous leopard. Some are. His most likely father, well, we don't know who his father is, do we? It could be Quarantine. Could be Mulwati. Outside chance it could be Tingana, but that's very unlikely. But Mulwati is a very nervous male. You can't actually view him in the day. At night he's alright, but in the day he's hopeless. So let's hope that he comes back and sits next to her again. Yeah, the light is stunning this morning, everyone. It's slightly filtered by a few clouds. And it's just morning in the Lowveld, you know, a winter morning in the Lowveld. Although calling this winter is obviously a bit of ridiculous for most of you. Calling what we call winter anything like winter for most of you is probably laughable. So let's just sit quietly now. I'm not going to move again. And as Louise says, it's a South African speciality to complain about the weather. I wonder if that's not a speciality of human beings in general. I can't tell you how many times that when I greet people outside, here you say, Afshen, which means hello. Afshen, Minjani, how are you? You go, no, we're fine, thanks. And then you don't get into the business. You kind of shoot the breeze a little bit. Franjani Kaya, how's everyone at home? No, Vako, right. Johnny Mama, how's your mother? Vabzanyana, she's a little bit sick. And then, without fail, Kahiza, it's hot. It's cold today. It's never in between. It's either hot or it's cold. I always find that quite amusing. just going to wait and see if he pops up. We'll wait half an hour or so. If he doesn't pop up, we'll move around a bit. But for now, everything has turned to peace. They've still got their carcass, which is in the tree next to them, which I'm sure makes them happy. Nice mid-morning or midweek meal for them. Although I think it was Sunday evening dinner, wasn't it? Or Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday she made the kill. And you always know when the peace of the day is starting. I always find when you hear the chin spot batters going. Not going to do it now. Such a lovely sound. But otherwise, everything, yeah, turned to just a pretty cat lying on a termite mound, and probably the youngster having a snooze just below her. And there's a emerald spotted wood dove going. Come on, little baby. Don't you want to come up and say hello to us? I'm sure you do. Oh, and there's even a orange-breasted bushrike way in the background. I sound fascinated by how skitty this little male is, because he's 7 months old now, marginally younger than Sibuya's cubs, who are very confident around cars. Certainly the male was. In fact, the female was as well. They came and sat 3 meters from us, both of them. So I think this is a little odd. It's either his personality, or he hasn't experienced a lot of cars, or he's had a bad experience. I don't think it's the last one. Right, we're going to sit here. We're not going to go anywhere. Let's go over to the lions at andBeyond and Ngala and see what's going on there.
we've also been quite reluctant to leave. We found a nice shady spot, and now the Rasmal right in front of us. We're in the shade of a nice buffalo thorn, and we're just going to sit with him for a little while longer. You can see the sun is now coming up, so it's burnt all the mist away, and the light on him is just spectacular. Really, very, very nice. His lip has dropped, so it looks way more attractive. So earlier on, both of them kept looking southwest, and we're thinking, oh geez, maybe the other brother is coming, maybe the other Rasmal is coming into this area, but no, they seem to have stopped. Maybe they just heard something very far off, way distant, that of course we couldn't hear at all. But there we go, a sleepy lion. So I was thinking earlier that he might have moved. When we first found him, I thought he was going to go west, but I think when he came back to join the young male, I think he'll just settle here for the day as well. Maybe a little bit further back into the shade, or maybe even where we are now. When we move, he might walk down here. Of course, being in the river is quite nice for him. He'll be able to hear things all around him and, of course, see everything. But, to be honest, being a big territorial male lion, you don't have too much to worry about. In this area, being the big apex predator. So if he could just come sleep next to this buffalo thorn, he'll be perfectly fine. But how beautiful is that sunlight catching his mane? His hair is looking quite good.
He must be using olive oil.
Marcel says he must be using olive oil. I was going to go for Pantene, but I guess olive oil works too. I'm very sleepy now. I wonder where they've been. Must have come in from the west. Yeah, we haven't seen tracks of them for a long time. So it's quite nice. Yesterday, found the Birmingham Pride back on andBeyond and Ngala. Now the Rasmals. Been quite a nice couple of days.
Is there anything like catnip? Yeah, well, catnip does work on some lions.
We got a question from non-profit asking, is there anything like a catnip here that the lions like? No.
I think they enjoy a wild sage.
They enjoy wild sage. Marcel says he thinks they enjoy wild sage. No, I don't know. Apparently catnip does work on wild lions, but no, I can't say. Hey?
On about 2/3.
On about 2/3 of lions. So Marcel says catnip does work on about 2/3 of wild lions, but no, in my experience, no, we don't. There's nothing here like catnip that lions like. Not that I've seen, not that I've come across. Interesting question though. On 2/3 of wild lions. How did they study that?
I think they did like a group of 1,000 different areas. It's not very
In Africa?
Yeah.
Okay. So Marcel says he thinks they did like a group of 1,000 different areas in Africa, or maybe like different lion populations. And apparently it only worked on 2/3. Interesting what human beings do. There's a study for everything. Knowledge is key.
If you don't learn something, it's a day wasted.
Marcel says if you don't learn something, it's a day wasted. So of course, I think he's gearing us up for the mid-morning fact coming up a little bit later. Isn't it dancing day?
Nah,
Not dancing day.
that's...
Look, we got you a nice stick that you can dance with a little bit later. Get your top hat.
When pigs fly, cats sing.
When pigs fly and cats sing, then Marcel would dance. Oof. I think the viewers need to... I think all the viewers will need to vote on that.
They can vote as much as they want. It's not changing.
It's not going to change. Okay. Someday we'll play a good song in the kitchen, and if Marcel starts dancing, I'll record it. I'll show it on live TV. So Henning wants to know if the male lion could have gotten the injury from a giraffe or buffalo kick, or buffalo or giraffe kick. Henning, quite unlikely. Where it's situated, it's on his back left leg, and it looks like a puncture wound or a scratch mark, where something would have bitten in or claw gone in. So usually with a giraffe kick, it would be a facial wound, or somewhere more in the ribs, something like that. Same thing with a buffalo horn, scraping it. So where it is, it's very unlikely that it could be a buffalo or giraffe. I think it might now be time to leave these guys to snooze in the mid-morning sun, and then we'll continue taking the river west and see if there's anything else for us to find out here. Yeah, looks quite content. Didn't even open his eyes. Okay, so we'll let him snooze. For now, I'm going to send you to Lauren. It seems like she's got a butterfly. There goes the young male.
A heavy blue pansy. One of the most beautiful butterflies. And it happens to be sitting perfectly still, so we're going to take advantage of that and have a little look at it. You can see those two bright blue spots, or where it gets its name from, and the antenna we can actually see perfectly here. Those long thin antenna, which moths can also have, but here got sort of club-like ends or tips, and that's how we know, if we were ever unsure, that it's a butterfly. Now the plethora of butterfly species we're seeing around at the minute, unfortunately, will all come to an end soon. As we go deeper into winter, most butterflies, as adults, their life cycle will come to an end. And that will be it. It will be over until next summer. Which sounds all very doom and gloom, I guess, but that is a natural cycle for butterflies. They don't live long in this beautiful form that we can see right now. I promise you it's alive. It was flying when we first saw it. It's sitting remarkably still. Beautiful animals. Hopefully most of the butterflies will have successfully reproduced, and that's what their goal is as a butterfly, to lay lots of eggs and continue your bloodline and your generation of your species. Butterflies have such unique ways of tasting things. So for the female, she needs to know she's got the right plant to lay eggs. She can't just lay eggs on any plant. She's got to lay it on the right plant, the host plant. So in order to make sure she's got the right one, she tastes it. And it's not using her proboscis, which is the straw-like appendage that's her mouth. It's by drumming her feet very, very carefully on the plant and getting them to release chemicals. Now when they release the chemicals, she has special receptors on the back of her legs that will taste the chemicals, if you like, chemoreceptors, and they will send a message to the brain. Is this the right plant will all be done through taste. And it may not be the right plant, so she'll leave and she'll go and try another one. Or, of course, it may be the right plant. And as soon as her brain tells her it is the right plant, she'll know that's the one she has to lay her eggs on. Fascinating. I didn't get that name, Natalie. One more time with the name. Ruby, you're 15 years old from the UK and you're asking, do we get antlions here? Yes, we do. We get different species of antlions, and I haven't seen one in quite a while, to be perfectly honest with you. But for a while, we had the very, very large bushveld antlions. They're massive, and they were flying all around camp. If I see one, I'll stop to show you one, Ruby. And there was a second part to that question, Natalie. Okay, I'm not sure what it was, but I know the question was a little bit longer than that. But yes, we do get antlions out here. But as with the butterflies, they will disappear as we go deeper into winter. We will no longer see the great diversity of insects that we're seeing right now, I'm afraid. I can already see the changes. I can already feel the changes. Okay, little butterfly, we are going to leave you. It literally is basking in the sun, this one. Most butterflies are not able to fly straight away until their muscles warm up. Okay, as I bumble on and see what else I can find, we are going to send you guys back across to Taylor at Eco Training for an update.
We're still here. Now, I know you probably think Taylor's gone back to bed. She's not doing her work today, but we've been following those 3 male cheetah who have really been giving us a run around. We lost them for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then finally managed to get them again, but we don't have them at the moment. They're basically moving through a really big area, but they look like they're hunting. They look like they're trying to flush some prey out, and I think their hunting techniques need to be a little bit different in a wooded area like this versus a big open grassland. So I didn't want to go chasing after them because we might disturb, of course, the prey that they could be looking to flush out. And there are lots of breeding herds of impala. There will definitely be a lot of steenbok and duiker hiding in this sort of woodland or shrubland sort of area. So I think what we're going to do from here is we might just check on the fence again to see if they haven't done a sneaky and gone around us and sort of just cut through and walk back that way. Or we might go along this road and then see. There is a researcher that is sitting with a female cheetah and cubs. There's no visual of her, so otherwise I promise I'd be there in a heartbeat. She's tucked away in such thick vegetation, so they said they're going to stay there and just wait there until they get a view and then call us in. But I really want to show you these males just one more time. They've given us some great sightings, but sadly we just haven't had the strong enough signal. They've been cheeky. It's like they've worked it out. Trying to be on camera, they're easing into this, but at least we now know that where they're heading to is near where that female is, and then that's of course a great and that's going to be great, maybe a nice interaction. So I think we're going to do what we just said we're going to do. I'm going to send you back to Djuma Private Game Reserve, where James is sitting with Kuchava.
The two of them now. They're very relaxed. Yes, thank you. I think I know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, FC? And we've just come around the mound here and stopped where the little one was resting. And now Mum's giving him a we came very quietly. I think he's okay with it. He doesn't seem to have too much of a problem. He's watching us very carefully, though. Okay, apparently we're going to quickly go over to Karongwe.
Coming to me, it's fine. You will not believe it. These cheetah can understand English. They know exactly what's going on. So I said to Alex earlier as we're coming down the fence line, there's a big marula tree, which I'm going to show you in a second. I said, they're probably going to mark. Come back. Now? Everyone? Mark up against this marula tree, which is just behind us, and guess what? They've just done exactly that. There they are. They back up along the fence line. They're funny animals. It's amazing how you end up learning their behavior. Or you can, I suppose, the longer you spend in the game, the easier it gets to understand animals and their general movements. And I was talking about it earlier. Cheetah seem to have a fascination with fence lines, because even in some of the big open ecosystems, like where James and Lauren are in, the Sabi Sand Game Reserve, and while I was working down south at Sabi, there's one fence line that's sort of the western fence line that stops animals from going into the communities just outside, and then it's pretty much open all the way to to Mozambique. There was one cheetah that he just wanted to walk the fence line. He had millions of hectares to traverse, and he just decided, when I wanted to go from the Kruger National Park, cut through the Sabi Sands, and go through Sabi and a couple of other properties, he would just walk the fence line. He was quite funny. So this is not unusual. They seem to do it quite often. And I think these boys are constantly on the go, checking, making sure that there aren't any new male cheetah in the area. I wonder if they've worked that out yet. They definitely pick up on the scent, but they haven't got any plans just yet. I think they're going to. I believe you did exactly that. I wish. Let's just take a quick look down the fence line. Anyways, we'll keep and hopefully get you another view of them doing something interesting. Back to James with Kuchava.
We're now having bath time. Morning bath time. And he's got very relaxed now. Well, I mean, who wouldn't? Under the administrations of mother like that, one can but be relaxed. This looks like the perfect place to sit, doesn't it? Soft grass, mother's ministrations. Peaceful bush all around, a meal sitting in the pantry, temporary pantry, and yes, it is rotting, but that's okay, we don't mind rotting meat. Oh, he looks like he's having the most blissful time now. So cute. I think she moved off the mound because it was just getting a little hot up there. I said to Owen today I didn't think it was going to get warm because it started off quite warm, and normally that means it clouds over and remains cool. But today it's going to be a bit of a stinker. We don't mind that. We'll take a stinker at the beginning of winter any day. The big cats have to what? Grow spots.
Tickle spots.
Tickle spots? Oh. I don't think they have tickle spots. As far as I know, I mean, I don't know for sure. Maybe they do. I don't know of any particular tickle spots that a big cat has. Magic. Cool. She's coming up. Alright, let's go back to Taylor. I think that Kuchava's probably going back towards the kill now. And let's see what happens at Karongwe with 3 cheetahs. You see her?
Hello again, everybody. Look at this. Spectacular. Wasn't it worth the wait? I do want to correct myself. Earlier I was so flustered by the excitement of seeing these boys. I think I may have mentioned Manyoni Game Reserve, about where these cheetah are coming from. I think they're actually from a reserve nearby called Zululand Rhino Reserve, which is maybe within the Manyoni sort of wilderness area. I'm actually not 100% sure. The wild dogs, one of the male wild dog that are in the bomas here at Karongwe Game Reserve, is in fact from Manyoni Game Reserve, but they are also from the KwaZulu-Natal sort of region, the east coast of South Africa. So my apologies for that. I will double check when I have access to the interweb, just to see where exactly Zululand Rhino Reserve is. I've only spent a little bit of time up there on safari. I haven't really spent much time on the east coast, but I believe that it is beautiful. And they tend to have some great cheetah sightings. Actually, funny enough, andBeyond has a camp in the Manyoni wilderness area called Pinda, and they are known for very good cheetah sightings as well. So it seems that of good quality cats come from that area, and I think we're all very happy that we've got these very relaxed boys on Karongwe. So they're marching down. I'm going to have to follow them a little bit, but I think our signal should be stable enough that we might be able to go with them. So I'm going to stop the car now. Doo-doo. Kelly, yes, you're right. We have had a cat trifecta. Leopards with James, and Rowan has had lions. And then, of course, we have got the cheetah, which is very nice. What would I like to see? If I could choose any small... I'd love to see a little caracal or something pop out at some point. I also want to show you an awesome cheetah track, but I suppose we won't worry about that too much right now. I think we'll just carry on with the cheetah. Oh, Alex, watch your head. Now, this is where I drive Alex into the bushes. It's his favorite part of the safari, hey? Yeah, we seem to have really nice, strong signal conveniently along these areas. I wonder where they're going to go now. They'll walk, mark their territories, and then they disappear, do their thing for a bit. And how Alex and I were trying to figure out where they were is we're just sitting really quietly like this, and we'd hear like the grass sort of rustle when they chase one another. They are quite playful. So we'd hear, and then we'd get excited. And just before we went live with you earlier, I heard a sound, and I thought it was them. It was. Now, Angelina, as I creep along this road behind the cheetah, You've inquired about the speed of cheetah and why they run so fast. I'm going to stop here and we'll just watch them for a little bit. So they need to run really fast. They've got to do that. I'm going to look this way because I've now just burnt my retina off again. The sun is bright. You'd think you'd know that after staring at it for so long. So they've evolved essentially to catch their prey in a different way that lions and leopards sort of hunt. So if you look at them, you'll see that their shoulders are not as big and bulky like a leopard or a lion's. They've actually got really, really big hindquarters, as a sprinter normally does. If you've ever watched the Olympics or any other athletic sporting event, you'll normally see that the fastest runners have normally got very sort of built quads. And so that's why those cheetah have got very big, powerful hind legs. And they've got a flexible spine and hips so that they can move them at an alarming rate. Very rarely a cheetah actually puts its paws on the ground. I think it spends more time in the air when it can reach speeds of between 90 and 112 kilometers an hour. It depends what books you read. Some always talk about, some people have recorded varying speeds of cheetah, and I think that probably goes to the individual. Some cheetah might be faster than others. I always say just as it is with people, but they go marching. So they don't necessarily stalk right up to their prey like a leopard has to and get within a couple of meters to be successful in catching it. These cheetah will look for their prey at a far distance and try and get a little bit closer, and then when they're within a distance that they think that they can reach their top speed, which is almost within 3 seconds, they give a sports car a run for their money, and then they'll try and catch their prey like that. And it's quite impressive to watch. Here they're not going to reach their top speeds. Here they've got to dart and dash and use different hunting techniques. I think they almost will be, they move around like wild dogs move. It's been quite funny watching these three boys. They split up but not too far away from one another. Wild dogs might, they put a big distance between them, but they walk side by side with spaces in between, and then they just move. And if there's any small antelope species or any scrub hares or anything like that hiding away, they're gonna, if one runs off to the left and it's the cheetah in the middle that has disturbed the prey species, then the one on the left might be able to run and grab it. So I think it's quite interesting how they're trying to flush prey out rather than spotting from a distance, climbing up onto vantage points, because standing on a vantage point in a thick area like this is of no use to them at all. So it's really amazing to see how cheetah are able to adapt. I think people are a bit misinformed and don't think that cheetah are as adaptable as they really are. Sugarbits. So we were talking about how fast they run. Their tails are really big, but they're not actually sort of rounded like a lion or a leopard's tail. They're flat on the end there, and that's because it acts as a rudder. So it helps steer them and helps counterbalance their body weight when they reach their top speeds. Shall we go up a bit closer? They're just sitting in the shade now, so I think we'll try and edge forward a little bit. They're rolling around. You can see we're making sure we keep our distance from them so that they don't feel like we are impacting them at any point, because if they go in here and spot something, we might not see it happen, but I do want them to be successful. So I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible to these cheetah. So that's an amazing, that's something I've never been up close to, is I'd love to be a part of a darting experience, say of something like cheetah, where vets come in and maybe they put an implant in to track them, because there's a lot of research going on about cheetah throughout Africa. You just want to feel what the tail feels like. And I think that would be amazing. I also really want to see what their feet look like, and I want to see their claws, and I just would love to have a closer look to this beautiful species. But I don't know. Maybe. I know a few wildlife vets. Maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to be invited along for one of these experiences. It would be like a dream come for me. I mean, the only time I really got to have much experience with up in Kenya, I mean, other than that, we used to see them in the Sabi Sand every now and then, but we didn't have the sightings and spend the quality time that we were able to while we were with Earth. They stayed, find some as well. James, I'm sure nothing to.
both of them now, but they're in the deep shade. Things really settling down nicely. And we moved around him quite a lot now, and he was fine. He didn't react at all. So he's just lying in the grass. His mum's just to the right of him, and he seems pretty chilled with the whole affair. In fact, he seems to be nodding off. It's exactly what we want. The slow building of trust between us and them. Now, a few days ago, I was very lucky because Grant from Torchwood, which is the reserve east of Djuma, called me to go and look at where Tundi has her den with the two little cubs. And it's so interesting seeing the different personalities of Tundi and Guchava. We viewed those little cubs from about 70 meters away, which is far. And so the picture I managed to snap, I did with a very long lens with a converter on it. And then I cropped it quite substantially and I put it on the computer. And for the reason I'm telling you that is that for a long time, Tundi was absolutely fine. She didn't react to us at all. And then suddenly, after about half an hour, she just, you know how Tundi gets antsy. Those of you who know her will know. She lifted her head and just gave us a little bit of a snarl from a long way off. Now, I can't imagine Guchava doing that. She seems to be much more relaxed about life in general. And I think it must be, just like with human beings, a combination of hundreds of factors. Experience, genetics, and by experience we could split that up into parental experience, experience of other vehicles. Some of it due entirely to chance, which reserve they were born on. Were they around a lot of vehicles? Were the people around them sensitive or not when they were little? And some of it just purely a different personality that they're born with. And this little guy's got a bit of a nervous disposition, but he's calming down nicely. Frankie, we'll change subjects now. You want to know if big cats produce hairballs from grooming? Yes, they do produce hairballs. It's sometimes quite unappealing, but they do produce hairballs. Yeah, Frankie, you may not know this, but that question gets asked, I think, if not every time we watch them having a grooming session, every second time. And I'm sure they do get a lot of hairballs because there's a lot of very thick white hair on the underside, especially of the leopards. And I guess it's probably a question of cat owners, really. It never occurred to me before I first heard the question asked. I never once considered whether or not a big cat got hairballs or not. And yet it's one of the most commonly asked questions. So those of you who've asked the question to big cats or wondered if big cats get hairballs, maybe you can tell us why. Is it because your own cats have got them or get them? But it's just not something that ever even occurred to me. As interesting as it is. It now occurs to me all the time because I've been asked it, of course. Dylan, how many times will leopards mate? In a lifetime? In a session? In an estrus cycle? That's not a question that's possible to answer. I'm kind of leaning towards thinking that you are wondering how often they mate when they're in estrus. Well, when they are in estrus and they've found a mate, They can mate up to, I've seen at least 20 times in an hour before. And then sometimes they'll lie there for a while, not do anything, and then they'll get up and, it'll start again over a lengthy period. So, it's probably on average during the estrus cycle once every 15 minutes or so, if they aren't on a kill. But it does vary from cat to cat, and it is massively frequent. In fact, it's exhausting to watch. You start to feel sorry for the male who looks like he's been set upon by a gang that he cannot get away from, and he can't get away from her because she'll just keep following him. Right, apparently the cheetahs have now settled, and they are engaging in some social bonding and some bathing.
They have settled, James, just to start rolling around again. I think they're just enjoying a break. I can't tell you how many kilometers they've marched from where we last saw them last night to where they are now. It's quite spectacular, but as we know, it doesn't last very long. When a cheetah decides that it wants to go and move around, it's going to do that. Look at that lovely socializing between two of them. So, just on my notes again, I've been trying to get some headshots so that I can examine the photos later, and hopefully you'll be able to see them on Eco Training social media, and we'll try and get some good ID shots of which male is which. I'll ask the researchers for their assistance, but I wonder if the male that's been up in front is maybe the more dominant one, although they seem to play switcheroo. But from my notes, I've got here that Zulu, who I said was seemed to be the more dominant one, he's got a supposed scar on his nose. So we need to check out their noses, and like I said, I'll zoom in nicely to my photos a little bit later. And he's also got a smiley face, so in the form of spots, of course. No one has permanent marked anything onto his face, just on the right side. So, I wonder if that's him there in the middle. I don't know if you all saw that, the one that's kicking. It just ran off to the right. I don't know if no, that was the left side of the face. I can't apparently tell which side is which. So we'll definitely start looking. You can use spot patterns anywhere on a leopard or a cheetah's body, because they might have like a unique feature. We often use whisker patterns for leopards and lions. With cheetah, it's a bit more difficult. You can also use their markings on their tails, or perhaps take a square on a certain part of their body. But, I've written a whole bunch of different things down, but I can't even understand my own drawings. I kind of need to look at the pictures again, and they don't sit still for long enough for us to be able to see who's who. Okay, off they go again. But I'm going to sit today. That's going to be my job with all my photos, and get confirmation so that on the afternoon safari, well, fingers crossed that we do get to see them again, that I'll have nice IDs for you. This is the longest I've spent with them, which is fantastic. Now, obviously, we're looking at one of the most endangered species here in Africa, and sorry, what was the name again? Was it Rowan? Rowan? I didn't catch who was asking the question. I'm so sorry. At the moment, my brain is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and there's a bit of a delay before they hear what I'm asking. I'll get Anthony. I was completely off there. Sometimes, sorry, Anthony. So, out of cheetah and leopard, cheetah in terms of their numbers are probably, definitely more rare. They suspect there to be between 6,000 and 7,000 cheetah left in Africa, somewhere around there. Whereas leopard are normally the harder ones to find. So their numbers may be a little bit more. However, they've got that connotation attached to them of being the elusive cat, very stealth-like and sticking to the shadows. But if you, of course, as you've seen and the Sabi Sand Game Reserve, you can see them quite regularly because they've been working on habituating them quite a bit. But here at Eco Training, we're quite lucky too, because there's a camp called Pridelands, which is just outside Hoedspruit and open to the Kruger National Park. They have regular not cheetah sightings, but regular leopard sightings. And I think there's some cubs there at the moment. And then, of course, we had that amazing sighting up on the Makutsi River here at Karongwe Game Reserve, where a male leopard who we have successfully ID'd as Tane, who hopefully I get to meet myself, killed an impala in full view and was not even a little bit skittish. So there are quite a few habituated leopards here on Karongwe Game Reserve too. But otherwise, yeah, both of them can be quite sneaky. Okay, we need to try and move up now and see if we can catch up to these cheetah. I'm also in two minds of perhaps heading a little bit further west from where we are to go and see if we can't catch a glimpse of the female cheetah and her youngsters before the drive ends, because I know you all want a daily dose of cuteness. Although I think you're having it with Kuchava and her youngster. And so we're gonna play Ching Chong Cha and decide what we're gonna do. Otherwise, I'm going to send you off somewhere where there are hyenas skulking about.
We are still here, everyone, I promise. The cubs are out. The milk bar is open. Ribbon's looking very skinny. There's no ginormous belly. And I've just seen a head pop up. So the cubs are definitely awake. But I think they're drinking first. Suckling. And I think only when they finish will we see them bounding around. So we're going to stay here. Ah, Ribbon. I do love you very much. I can see their ears. I'm not sure from your angle. Just every so often you see a little head. See that? We figured this is a good time. If Ribbon's been busy during the night, it takes her time to come back in the morning. And I thought now is a good time since, well, we didn't really have much luck with anything else. We've just got lucky. The cubs are out. You see the tail. And one will definitely be more dominant than the other, definitely. You should actually almost be able to tell just by looking at them. The bigger one, the one with the more body mass, will most likely be the dominant one. You can tell by their behavior as well. I had a look at all the photos I took of them. I've got some fantastic photos, and they do look different. You can see the cubs are not identical. I think it's just going to be a game of patience. I really do think they're going to come out and bound around the den soon, though. They're quite famous now. All the other vehicles in the area want to come and see Ribbon's cubs. You're famous, my girl. I've still had no luck on the situation with Heart. And sometimes when we're not on air, we're actually doing the mundane stuff like checking dens. So I've checked all the dens in the vicinity. I'm just wondering if there's maybe some that I don't know about. Heart is another female that I am convinced is also lactating. And if she's lactating, that means she's got cubs. I just don't know where. There's also a chance it could be on Cheetah or Little Gowrie. Claudia, I think you're asking, is there room in this den for other cubs?
No, for Ribbon to go in.
Oh, for Ribbon. Sorry, Nasa, you might have to slow down a little bit. No, absolutely not. Ribbon is a very, very large hyena. I would say she's at the top end of the scale, if you like, coming in at about 90 kilograms, which is about 200 pounds. I think it's very intricate inside. And the entrance hole, where Ribbon has so delightfully plugged her bottom, is not large. She really, really could not get in there. Maybe if she started to dig, she would. But right now, as it is, she wouldn't be able to get in. She's too big. And that's the way it's supposed to be, because if Ribbon could get in, then other hyenas and other adults could get in. And that's what we don't want. We don't want any other predators of any kind getting in. And it's not just hyenas you've got to worry about. It's also the smaller predators. Mongoose. Civets. Anything that could potentially attack a small little hyena cub. But as for, is there room inside, Claudia? I'm really not sure. Many of you ask what it looks like inside, and I don't know. I have a vision in my head, but I don't actually know what it looks like inside this den. The cubs will be digging. They're at that age. Their claws are long enough. They're physically able to, and they will be digging. They will be editing their home, upgrading, renovating, making little secret cubby holes that Mummy doesn't know about. Akila, that's a good question, but normally we wait a little bit longer until they're older before we name them. We normally wait until the 3-month mark before we can give a definitive sex. We can guess right now, absolutely, but until we can actually see their genitals clearly and properly, we will wait. The spot pattern will be visible at 3 months old. So then we will really be able to pick out features of the two of them. So I think a little bit later on, definitely after 6 months before we name them. We've sort of given hyena cubs names in different ways in the past. So I'm not sure what we're going to do this time, but we need to wait until they get a little bit older. I'm sure they'll develop nicknames though. As humans, we tend to give everything nicknames. I know that I do. My dog has about 20, and she responds to them all. Okay, so we're going to keep a really close eye. Ribbon's cubs are there, I promise you, and as soon as they come out, you'll be right back with us. But for now, we're going to send you over to another spotted cub.
Come around the other side, the little one's got a bit active. And now he's hidden in the bush, naturally. She's calling him. She wants him to come close. And slowly, slowly, we've managed to get around and closer. And he seems to be relaxing now. Can you see him moving? There he is. Little tail flicking. She's calling him. She goes to him. He's right there. He's just in the long stuff. In amongst the Vernonia. She's snarling at him. Isn't that cool? She's going back towards what is now a very stinky carcass. Alright, let's go back to Laura now. She's got the hyena cubs out.
Slowly but surely, it's time to annoy Mum. It's time to nibble on Mum's ears, jump on her head. Give her a pedicure. If any of you haven't seen my Instagram, go check it out. Lauren_Arthur7. And there's a very cute photo of one of the cubs eating Ribbon's toenails. Anything they can chew on right now, they will. I'm so in love. You know, I do love the leopards very much. I feel very blessed to spend so much time with leopards, but time with hyena cubs are just too precious. Especially at this really, really young age. We found them on the 27th of March. I'm bringing out my phone now, everyone, because I cannot even begin to think what day it is today. Oh my goodness, as if it me. I'm trying to do a count. Coming up to 6 weeks. 6 weeks, you guys. Yes. Oh, they're so cute. I'd quite like to see them next to each other to get a bit of a comparison in size. Oh, sticks. Cuddles for Mom. Kisses for Mom. Look at this one, Toffee. It's rolling around. One's been very cute, one's been very naughty. I don't know which one to keep my eye on. One's got its genitals out. Anushka, yes, they love this plant. I think it's the only one they've really discovered. You know, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to be discovered around this termite mound for sure, but they seem to love this one, Anushka, I agree.
Wish coming for Dave.
Too cute. Just turn our game drive radio down. Oh, it's grooming. This is the perfect time of morning for a sighting like this. You know, we've got really lucky. I know I say this every time, but Javi and I saw these cubs very early on in their life, almost too early. I think we just got so lucky. It's all about luck out here sometimes too. And if we didn't get to see them that day, we wouldn't have really known those two cubs inside. Ribbon kept them tucked away and protected for so long. And you know, she blocks that entrance. And that's intentional. She constantly guards this den. It stinks. Yes, little one, your den's... it stinks. She's marked it, she's urinated it, she's made it smell so much like her that other predators would not realize there's two little cubbies in there. Ribbon has suffered loss, and I can honestly say I think she has been an incredible mother. Incredible. She's done such a good job. She knows the risks, she knows the dangers, and she knows she has to keep these little ones protected. Natalie, one more time, just a little bit slower. Sorry. Gabrielle, you're 8 years old. The cubs go inside. The cubs are always inside, and Ribbon knows that. She's able to hear them and smell them. So when Ribbon sleeps, she sleeps with, let's just say, half an eye open. She's always alert, always aware. Most predators are. Unless you see that recent video on social media where a male lion walks up to a sleeping leopard and the leopard has absolutely no idea. But generally, predators do sort of stay half alert because they have to. So Ribbon knows that when she sleeps, the cubbies are safe inside. And when she leaves, the cubbies are safe inside. This is so wonderful. This makes up for having a quiet morning. This is just the best. Could not have asked for anything more. Adam, I would love to say yes. I would love to be Auntie Lauren to these little twins. I'm already an auntie to twins. But sadly, no. They will recognise vehicles, though. But they won't be able to tell, here comes a Scottish girl. It's been with us since we were born. But they will recognise vehicles. I would say they're already pretty habituated. And this is a good thing. Not just for selfish reasons, but as I mention regularly, you don't want an animal to fear the vehicle. You don't want an animal's heart rate to constantly increase, panic, make bad decisions, cortisol levels to sort of rise in the bloodstream. You don't want that to happen every single time an animal fears a vehicle. You want them to be relaxed. And of course, this area is very well regulated. There's rules, there's people watching always. We drove past the anti-poaching team earlier. So the animals are protected, so you don't want them to fear the vehicle. You want them to be very comfortable because vehicles will come. They are going to see vehicles in their little lifetimes. And Ribbon's very relaxed. So Adam, I don't think they're going to recognise my voice, but they will recognise vehicles. Oh, no. I don't know if all of you saw that failed jump attempt. It was a far too big a jump for you, little one. Anushka, not very strong right now. They've got sharp teeth, so they will be able to inflict quite a bite if they were to bite your finger. But the jaws don't really spring into action until they are around 2 years old. So until a hyena is 2 years, they haven't got that powerful bite force that comes with being a hyena. So I think they've got to wait a little bit longer until we can probably say that they've got strong jaws. But once they spring into action, they will not stop. Okay, I'm going to take lots of photos and enjoy every moment, and you guys are going to go back across to James and his cub.
We are sitting here now with Guchava in the deep shade of her bush, where she has managed to stash her adult male impala. We were chatting yesterday about the death of adult male impalas at this time of the year and how frequently they are set upon by the predators. And here is another example of it. Now, we often hear about these big cats being able to hoist their kills up to, twice their own body mass. They don't do it by default. I'm pretty sure she could have hoisted this kill if she'd wanted to. She probably weighs in the region of 45 to 50 kilograms. That male impala around about 70 to 75 kilograms. And so she could possibly have hoisted it. But I just don't think that many of them have been doing much hoisting of late. And that's not because of the mass of their kills, it's because there's so much cover. And this is a great example of it. We've been, we've been driving around, obviously staring at bushes and staring into the tops of trees for a long time, hoping to find leopards. And this is what they're doing. They're not hoisting their kills. There's just no need for them to. It's much more comfortable for them to eat where she's eating now, because it's on the ground. She doesn't have to balance precariously. She doesn't have to try and balance the kill in a tree. And I suspect that if she is going to hoist the remains of this thing, she'll do it today, because it's starting to smell bad. That said, we're already relatively late into the morning, and I think it's quite possible that she won't hoist it, because I don't know that the hyenas would come during the day. So this kill may never be hoisted. Jasmine, you'll probably find that she could sit and eat this kill for, I don't know, 4 days maybe. There are 2 of them feeding, and it's not to be underestimated the amount that little male will eat. He'll eat quite a lot. So it'll take a couple of, I think 4 days or so, potentially. I'm not sure that they'll hang around that long though, because they will be slightly worried about the incoming of scavengers, and scavengers could well come now that it smells so awful. So they killed it on Sunday, probably Sunday midday-ish, I guess. It's now been till Monday, we're now on Tuesday. Yeah, could last another 24 hours, especially if she decides to stick it in a tree. And there's a tree not far away. And you can see the horns, yep. And her eyes peering out from beneath there. Now you can imagine driving past on the road, which is 20 meters away from this bush. You would have absolutely no chance of seeing this cat if you didn't know that she was here. And we know she's here because Trishala found her. Trishala found her resting in a tree and was looking at the tracks when, well, they kind of spotted each other. No, Michael, I don't think the density of the bush helps conceal the scent of the kill. I think it's hot still. There's a lot of moisture around. And so I think this kill will rot faster than it would in midwinter. And so I think that it probably smells stronger than it would in more wintry, less dense bush. There's quite a lot left there. I think that's definitely going to last them another 24 hours. They might choose to just leave it if it becomes too smelly and she gets a bit worried. It's been interesting to watch her. You know, yesterday she spent, 2 hours in the top of that tree just looking around, sleeping and then looking and sleeping and looking. This morning she spent the majority of the time up on this termite mound, sleeping, looking. So she seems to be behaving like a guard, making sure that nothing comes this way, or making sure that if something does come this way, she'll see it. Which, of course, is wise. If you want to prevent danger to your cub, which obviously she does. As always, let's spare a thought for the impala, caught up in the absolute overwhelming joy and excitement of the carnival of the rut, and really it hasn't ended well for him. Let us now to Ngala, where Marcel has prepared himself to deliver his fact of the day.
Right, so I think my introduction this morning was a little bit bad, but of course this is Marcel, as you all know. There are 2 yellow-billed hornbills sitting in this tree, and they are also offering their 2 cents every now and then. So I think, Marcel, you might be interrupted throughout your mid-morning fun fact from you. Enjoy.
Thanks, Ron. So the Tunguska event was an explosion that happened in Russia, close to the Tunguska River, the Podkamenaya Tunguska River, and that's in the Krasnoyarsk Krai in Russia. It flattened around 2,000 square kilometers of the eastern Siberian taiga biome, and we estimate the explosion to have been between 15 and 30 megatons of TNT equivalent, which is quite a lot. And yeah, it's actually and we think that it was a meteoroid that burst in the air that caused it. So that's, in recorded history, the largest meteoroid explosion that we know of in recorded history.
It's a lot of TNT. Alright, thanks Marcel. Thank you, Hornbills. Just zoom up on those. They're just cleaning his wing now. We were saying earlier that we actually, we quite like it. Often when you come driving up upon them, it's something in the sound of the engine or the vehicle that makes them like start calling out and then bobbing their heads almost in unison. So there's two of them sitting there, the other one's just to the left and out of sight behind the foliage. A funny bird. Of course, this is a bird that Zazu was based on from The Lion King, except I think they got the colors all wrong. Zazu had a blue beak. Oh, hyena cubs are out, so we're going to send you to Lauren with Ribbon.
We are having the most loveliest morning here with Ribbon. These cubs, their energy knows no ends. It's so lovely. She's grooming, they're playing, they're nibbling. They don't really like it when Mum grooms too much. They're like, Mom, we're clean already. You peed on us earlier. I have seen her do that. It must be some way of showing love if you're Ribbon. Ribbon was also this tender and loving and maternal towards Paddy, a cub that we believe didn't make it. She's a good mom. Can't believe how much these cubs are growing. They want to get their mouths on everything. Sarah, they're normally quite strictly tied to the den for 4 weeks, where you really don't normally see them. And that's what I mean by the fact that we got pretty lucky, because in the natal den you normally really don't see cubs when they're in their natal den. And it's between 1 and 8 months. Hello. Between 1 and 8 months that they spend all their time around a communal den. But this is when they sort of really start to come out and run around and meet other hyenas and climb and chew and tussle and tumble. Is that it over, Ribs? Have you put them away? I hope not. I think she's getting too hot sitting there. So yes, after 8 months they will become less dependent on the den. But for the next, well, let's hope 7 months, we get to see these cubbies at the communal den on a daily basis. I hope they come back out. Sugar Bits, you're asking a question. I'll just get Natalie to repeat it. Come back out. I haven't heard your name in a while, Sugar Bits. I hope you're well. Does headbutting. Headbutting. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Have they been headbutting one another? Oh, no, they're just touching. They're just tactile. All they know right now, their entire world is their mom. So if they touch heads with Ribbon, they just want to be with her all the time. They just want to touch her. If they headbutts with one another, then that's when they're tossing and tumbling. They're constantly striving for dominance. One will always be more dominant than the other. They will both be high-ranking, but there will be one that is more dominant than the other. You see, constantly battling it out. You may not be able to see it too much now, but as they get older, you will see there's a weaker one. So headbutting is probably start of their wrestling with one another. That's Mummy's ear. I think she needs her ears. She has very special ears, your Mummy. Poor Ribbon's trying to catch a snooze. Well, Ribbon, that ain't gonna happen with these two. You know, because it's going into winter, I think we're seeing the cubs only when it starts to get a little bit warmer. I think it's too cold for them early on. Ouch. Ouch. Okay, maybe we can see who the dominant one is here, everyone. Look at that. Hosea, you're asking, do hyenas ever leave and start their own lives? Generally speaking, with females, no. It benefits the females to be in the clan. I don't really think there's many clans that would accept another female. It's a matriarchal society, so even if you're the lowest ranking hyena, it still benefits you to be part of your clan. If you're a male, then yes, absolutely, you will disperse. You will normally disperse any time after 2 years old, and you will go find another clan to accept you, and then you will get access to all the lovely ladies, and you will just be very, very submissive for a long time, and eventually the clan will trust you and accept you. Some males actually don't disperse and they stay with their natal clan, but the ratio is said to be 97% to 3. So 97% leave, disperse, which is normal, and 3% stay. So if Ribbon has a son, let's just say one of these cubs is a boy, he'll be in a good position, just like Plonk was for a while. He'll be in a very good position. He's a male, but he'll still be high-ranking. He'll get good access to food. He'll get looked after. People will bow down to him, but most likely no one will mate with him. So it's a toss-up. Does he stay or does he go? Should I stay or should I go now? It's a big decision if you're a hyena male. Food or ladies? And I guess 3% of those hyenas choose food because they don't leave. I mean, they may get to mate with a very low-ranking female, but most females won't mate with a natal male. E.T., you're asking which predator species has the best survival rate in terms of the cubs. I actually think it's wild dogs, believe it or not, due to the fact that it's just the alpha pair that breed. Sometimes the beta pair can also breed, but it should just be the... Oh, I think you've got some piece of grass attached to your face there. And the whole dynamic of the pack is that everybody contributes to the breeding effort. So you've constantly got groomers, you've constantly got babysitters, you've constantly got security guards, you've also got waiters who will bring back food and regurgitate it. So I think hyena cubs unfortunately don't have a high survival rate during the birthing process, but as they get older they do. Lions and leopards is also very low. Cheetahs is low. I think that wild dogs have the highest survival rate, and it's due to the pack effort, a combined effort. I'm just going to put my balm on Mum's face. How lovely from Mum. This is just a perfect way to end what has been a fantastic drive. Leopards, cheetah and lions and hyenas. All we needed was wild dogs to complete the predator hierarchy. These drives are just getting better and better, and the hyena den is exactly where I want to be. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. And if you have been enjoying all of our drives, morning and night, sunrise and sunset, you do have the option to head over to WildEarth.tv and support us in any way that you may wish to. This is highly entertaining. But as I mentioned, Ribbon has lost. She's lost a lot of cubs. So she knows that she needs to guard these little cubbies. And it also shows that the survival rate of hyenas is also not high. We lost many cubs in the Djuma clan lately. Plonk. We believe that Sawana's maybe disappeared. Peddy's sibling. There's been a lot of loss. And I still firmly believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe Ribbon was the reason for Corks getting injured. I think Corks got injured some other way, I'm not sure how, and Ribbon used that situation for her takeover. That, I think, was when she decided, oh, this one's tired. Are you tired after all the running around? And then I think Ribbon decided, the matriarch's been injured. I am sick of being a low ranker. I'm sick of being bullied, and I'm going to climb to the top. And instead of building a girl army, which is what science says hyenas need to do, she built a boy army with her daughter, Intima. So I really don't think Ribbon was behind Corks getting injured. But she did use that situation to her advantage, absolutely. It's all about opportunities in the predator world. Take every opportunity that you can get. We timed this perfectly. When Davy and I first arrived here, there was no signs of the cubs. I wasn't entirely sure we were going to be lucky, but we have been, and it's been the perfect way to end what I believe has been a perfect morning. I could spend every drive here. Thank you, Ribbon, for letting us see your little cubbies. And unfortunately, it came to that time in the morning where we have to say goodbye. So we will say goodbye from all of us, from Eco Training Karongwe and Beyond Ngala, and all of us here at Djuma. Please do join us again this afternoon. Thank you and goodbye.